Hello, my name's Sylvester McCoy. Welcome to the legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Hello, fellow Whovians, and welcome again to another edition of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And we have a celebration today, and we'll explain as we go along our episode. But tonight, we're taking a little bit of break from the reviews, and we're giving our audience a chance. You get to become the host of the show, and you can ask us anything. And of course, it has to be within reason. But tonight, you get to ask us anything. Especially, we want to welcome everybody who joined up from MegaCon, from people who were just scanning the WHOniverse of podcasts throughout YouTube and Facebook and just came across the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, whether you've been watching our shorts on our YouTube channel, if you've been seeing the incredible pictures on our Facebook page, wherever. Tonight you get to ask us any question about anything, and I got some of your questions down out here. We'll be going over your questions tonight. Some of them are quite interesting, and of course you can always post in the chats out there. So thank you for joining us, and don't forget to say hello to everybody, and welcome. I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody one at a time who's going to be on our show tonight. So Dave's taking a break. I believe he's in between conventions. He's traveling right now. So we wish him well, and hopefully he's having a good time out there. Plus, we're going to go over the Doctor Who trailer that just released. Hopefully we don't get demonetized or flagged for playing the trailer. We're going to try to play it, and hopefully it won't mess us up. But without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on the team. Speaking of things that are messed up, there we go.
Yeah, that's pretty appropriate there, Christian. Thanks. That was good.
Welcome, Mr. Mark Muncie from Erie Travels.
I don't know if I was on the first episode, but I was definitely on one of the early episodes when we started this. So,
on which one?
Of Traveling TARDIS. So I'm trying to remember
okay.
how far back I go on this, but it's I know early days. So
I'm getting old, dude. I'm wearing the brainy specs now.
Hey,
so.
I've been there. I got.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that when you turn this certain ripe age and you start having to do the brainy specs, like when I go out somewhere, I forget them. Yeah. So I'm starting to read menus and stuff. I'm like, translate for me, please.
Yeah,
exactly.
Are you the one that needs them like that, or do you have to hold it like that when you don't have
I have now become. I was originally I'm nearsighted, but with the contacts on. But for some reason, I've turned farsighted. So I can read the street signs in the distance and everything. I can drive proper. There's no problem with it. It's just when I go places now, if I have to read off a menu, I am so screwed. And just like, can you translate that for me? Can you translate small text?
I was at Frogman Festival in Loveland, Ohio this weekend, which was a lot of fun, and met a traveling TARDIS fan there. So that was pretty cool. So mostly a lot of Erie Travels people, but thanks for having me on again, gang. So
no, thanks for coming on, my friend. And
I hosted Dave on his trip between conventions. He stayed here for.
That's right. Nights. We do have pictures on. Well, I don't think I posted them on the Traveling TARDIS yet. I've been kind of busy at the moment, so we were trying to get some things going on for this episode.
It is what it is.
So, it is what it is. Yep. If anybody understands running the show, and just in case if you're not familiar, good evening, fellow Whovians. Welcome to our special edition. We're celebrating 55,000 YouTube subscribers. Don't ask. I have no idea, but don't ask now. And tonight you become the host, so you get to interview us because we're always interviewing people. We're always reviewing stuff, but now you get to ask the questions. We've got some questions from our audience out there. Go ahead and put them into the chats. Our favorite ones we're going to go ahead and put up there. And don't forget to say hi to each other. And speaking of not saying hi to each other, let's go ahead and bring in David.
Hey, how you doing there? It has. I am delightful.
I was hoping there was more to that.
I decided to go for the awkward laugh rather than any fullness of whatnot. No, I'm well. It's warm outside. There's a nice breeze, and I'm in a very tropical shirt.
Gotcha. I like it though. I love the shirt. I like the shirt.
Thank you.
I need to focus my camera even a little more because it's acting wonky. And speaking of acting wonky, I don't know where it came from, but I thank him for inviting me on his show this past Sunday. There he is, Mr. James. Install form.
That is a really hard name to pronounce.
It's the Slavic pronunciation. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that was so sick.
So, James, just to let people know what was going on Sunday's show, your show, make sure you subscribe also to the Geek to Me radio station on the YouTube channel. It has a show every Sunday night at 10 o'clock. But, James, tell them a little bit about your show out there.
Yeah, it's actually a live radio show, so it's on terrestrial radio. If you're anywhere within the surrounding St. Louis area, up into Indiana, down into Arkansas, you can catch us on 550 AM KTRS every Sunday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We go live with a brand new show. If my producer is in studio, we do video like this, put up on Facebook and YouTube, and we kind of cover the world of pop culture. So later this month, I'm trying to find my calendar here. I should have had that put aside. I've got the people who do the Choose Your Own Adventure books. They'll be on with me talking about Choose Your Own Adventure. if anyone remembers those.
Cool.
The very last Sunday, I've got John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, will be on with.
Oh, God.
Bunch of cool stuff coming up this month. And if that weren't enough, we're launching my own Comic Con coming up in May 23rd through the 25th.
Bring that banner down there. There you go.
We're going to have Phil Lamar, Susan Eisenberg, Maria Canals-Barrera, Dan Reba, and Alan Burnett, all from various UB shows that you know and love. And we'll also have some fantastic comic book writers and artists like Mark Bagley, Chuck Patton, Roy Thomas, Keith Williams, Stephen Butler, Andy Parks, Bill Hester, and a bunch more. So put it on your calendar. Memorial Day weekend this year. It's tworiverscomiccon.com.
And where is it located, just for people who might be in your area?
Historic St. Charles, Missouri, along Main Street. So if you come into the St. Louis airport, about a 15-minute drive west.
Got it. Well, okay. Jim's saying he's got this episode on his 50-inch big screen TV. So we're talking about James. His head's bigger than in the rear view mirror. It's going to be a hot episode tonight. Is this? Jim, do me a favor. Do me a quick favor, James. You asked some questions and just put them in the chat because I misplaced them. So I apologize. So if you can throw them back into the chat, I'd truly appreciate that. We'll take care of it, I'm sure. And speaking of taking care of things, of course, we always start off with the episode the way it is because we want to go over the Who Knew News, and we've got a ton of Who Knew News with Gadget herself. So without further ado, take it away, Gadget.
Hi guys.
That intro cost me $10,000. I'm just saying. I spared no expense for the Who Knew News out there.
No, you didn't. It's a good intro and everything. It's just, do you want to start with sad or do you want to start with spooky, scary, or any of the other stuff that's been going on?
Well, that's a little random out there. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we had some interesting stuff happen all week, but we had to narrow it down because it would have been a whole show based on what was going on this whole week.
Well, let's start with the sad part. Let's start with the sad part.
Yeah. We're gonna let ladies go first because if any of you were fans of Harriet the Spy, Pete and Pete, and also Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know this actress very well, and she's a local here in New York. And it's very sad to hear that she had passed away due to complications. But due to her religious background, her parents did not want to do an autopsy, so they're just leaving it as it is, that she passed away of undetermined causes. And it was really sad because you did see her a lot around the city sometimes and everything. And people were in shock to be 39. And yeah, she
had just had a liver transplant recently and
yep.
going through some health stuff. So probably complications.
And to be sad is that her mom found her at 8:00 that morning. So that was even worse because she had just left her that night.
Wait a minute, Gadget, did you say her name?
No, I was going to say it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's Michelle Trachtenberg, and basically everyone really does remember her from Buffy, more so as the little sister Dawn, but I remember my niece watching her as Harriet the Spy, and I remember her on Pete and Pete and everything. Yeah. And the sad coincidence is that I almost got to meet her because I had worked on Law and Order, and I had just started the job at the DMV when the week that she was being on Law and Order. So it was just I couldn't get out of that job because they wanted me for shoots with her, and I was like, it would have been so cool to meet her and ask her all the questions, like what it was like to be a young actress, because I only did it in my 20s and everything. She's been doing it since she was like 3 or 4, she said, on some of her interviews, especially with Rosie O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. And it's like to see the difference, like from being a child actress to working as an adult actress and everything. And she had a lot going for her. And if it wasn't for this little, as we're going to say, little situation, because she was fighting her people, telling her that she's fine, she's good and everything. But this is what happens, why you have to be so careful when you have transplants or surgeries or anything. Any little thing can make it your last day. And that's why I got to tell everybody, just check on people, make sure everything, and live life. She had a future going for her.
And I think it was complications due to her liver. At least that's what people are pointing out. And it was confirmed that she had an addiction at the time. And
the parents are trying to keep it out of the news because they want the respect.
Oh, I mean, that's family thing. I mean, we're done here. As far as once the family says you're out of the picture, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to be very tactful because I do know some of the mutual contacts, and it was very sad. Like everybody's still in shock here on this. So it's just one of those that caught us off guard. And then to have this next thing happen with a legendary actor and everything, and to find out that his defibrillator had stopped and they didn't find them for a couple of days is what happened. And if you've seen this, Gene Hackman and his wife passed away. Gene was 95 and his wife was 63. And one of the dogs also had passed, but the other two survived. And they're still not giving much details on it, but they did say the defibrillator did its last shock early February, and when it was about a couple of days after they found them. So we don't know what happened with his wife more so, but we do know that update on that. But it's just crazy. I think one of the dogs passed away because of the pills that had been found and spilled or anything, but the only thing I could think of, she was trying to get his pills when he couldn't get the shock, and she must have just something, maybe the shock, of him,
right.
Broken heart syndrome. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's broken heart syndrome.
Well, going back to Michelle just a little bit before I jump right back, and we're going to talk about along in the Gene was that, Mark said it. Let me bring up his chat. Michelle tracking
that movie,
Buffy and Eurotrip for me, and I'm like, I don't think you're the only one, Mark.
Johnny doesn't know.
Well, and guys, I'm going to be honest. It's just like when I saw her as Dawn in the show, it was just like, she's kind of like the kid's sister. Then I saw her on the trip, and I grew up quicker than I was expecting. So, that was just me. But yeah, just a lovely lady. Just a future, it's gone, and it's just like, just guys, if you have an addiction to something, please get yourselves checked out. Take care of yourselves. Because she had an incredible future ahead of her. I saw her on House MD. I remember that episode. I remember that episode with the tick, and I'm like, God, that is just
brutal.
That was
this is the thing about her. She will take any role because it didn't scare her. She didn't care what anybody thought. She just thought it was going to be like, oh, I'm just going to take this role, and stuff like that. Like she wasn't embarrassed about anything. She knew this is what life was like. And that's why it's so sad to see her go, because everyone said that kid sister you never had or you had. And, it's like, she's everybody's kid sister.
Yeah. Bringing back to Gene, I'm going to start with you, Mark. The movie that you best remember him in, or the character that you best remember him in.
Oh gosh, he's so iconic. Of course, you automatically think Lex Luthor, but
let me put it this way: if you were to say, like 20 years from now, somebody asked you who was Gene Hackman, and you only had one thing to show as an example for Gene, what would be the showcase? What would you?
Popeye Doyle, French Connection.
Yes.
I was going to say Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein, Blind Man and Young Frankenstein showed he could do comedy. That opened up Lex Luthor for the Superman movies. I loved him in Quick and the Dead.
Oh, that was a good one. That's a good one.
That's Sam Raimi goodness, but hearing that he hated working on that because he didn't understand how Sam Raimi filmed. I know that's not one of his favorites, but I mean, he put through himself into everything he did. He was a legendary actor, and that's what everybody says. But I'll be honest, I enjoyed some of his recent novels. So he changed to being a writer, and as a writer, I appreciate that.
Did they become an artist too? Didn't he do some paintings?
Yeah,
he was doing a lot of things in his later years, and it was sad to see all this. Yeah,
2004. So for 20 years, he's been writing and painting. So
he's been a painter most of his life. Because I have one of my acting teachers and friends and mentor, Larry Reese, worked on Unforgiven. And they actually painted together because they had that shared interest while they were working on the film. Just, waiting for things to be set up and whatnot.
James, what movie would you use if you want to demonstrate to somebody who never heard of Gene Hackman? What would be the character that you would pop out?
Well, you can probably tell by all this posters behind me, I'm a DC Comics guy. So obviously Lex Luthor, but I really, really loved his performances in both Enemy of the State with Will Smith and in Get Shorty with what a cast. Travolta, Rene Russo, fantastic cast in that. So those are the two movies I usually associate closest with him if I'm not thinking of Superman automatically.
I'm surprised nobody said it, so I'll say it because it had 2 star powers that just really bounced off of each other so well. I'm talking about Crimson Tide. That would be the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
The Birdcage.
No, I forgot about the Birdcage. That was good too.
And
yeah, he just has.
I enjoyed. What was it? Royal Tannenbaums. It's a classic fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's the classic films like The French Connection, which
I go to. So yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to start watching his movies again.
You had a long list of good movies. Yeah.
You will not complain on any of those.
Even lesser stuff.
I growing up late night Sunday night TV movies. It was always something he was in, like Poseidon Adventure or. Some of those would show up, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great!" Yeah,
that's another great cast. The original Poseidon Adventure from 1972. What a fantastic movie!
Yeah, or Bridge Too Far. And just some of those oddball things that he would show up in. It's good to see, though. I mean, it was always a pleasure to see him on screen because he was great in everything. So.
I think Timescales is adding Betsy. I guess his wife was a classic pianist born in Hawaii and Japanese descent. Mark brings in Superman, Bat 21, Mississippi Burning, Replacements, and he's just saying Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves.
I love that movie. I do.
Roger says Mississippi Burning as well, and our hashtag guru from Spill the Geek team. Make sure you're subscribing. That's our sister show that talks about everything that's not Doctor Who out there. And I mean everything. Young Frankenstein. Definitely. Oh, defo.
I love he did that for free. He did?
He did. Mel was telling the story.
Wilder. And
you're right. Yeah, he did do it for free.
And they were talking about it, and he's like, nobody will put me in a comedy. Put me in this movie. And of course Mel Brooks said, well, hell yes.
And the crazy thing is, Mel is still alive today to tell all these stories, and his son is starting to collect them in a book and everything. Because we met him at New York Comic Con, and he said he ran into somebody that looked like Barf from Spaceballs, and he said his dad has all these stories and everything and stuff. So get ready because it's going to be a big book. It's like
his biography book, All About Me. Mel Brooks is great too. So.
I'm actually right in the middle of reading that right now. I'm in the last 100 pages or so.
So good. We love those guys. So
those are the best.
And his son Max Brooks wrote World War Z. So
he was promoting it at New York Comic Con, and that's when everybody was like crazy, and they didn't realize. And it was the coolest thing, like meeting him. And I'm like, I told him I had done the producers when it was David Schwimmer and the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm with what's the wife's name? Now she's married to that guy and with the politics and everything. We were doing it down there, and I got to meet everybody, and I regret I didn't get to meet Anne before she passed, and everything. But it was like Mel was on set. You had David Schwimmer. You had everybody there. And that's what I'm saying. Like this guy, this is another one we have to protect because he could tell stories like crazy.
I think it may have been a Highlander situation because it seems like all these people, Gene Wilder, Gene Hackman, Terry Garr, keep passing, and Mel Brooks just keeps getting stronger.
Yes, he does.
Really?
And then we have another situation. How many of you guys remember Space Coast, Coast to Coast, and everything and stuff?
Oh yeah.
And we lost one of the best like voice actors and everything, George Lowe. He is like the funniest person going and everything when you talk with him. And it's sad.
You got an autograph from him, you got a show.
Yes. I'll tell what Mark has said, I got to meet him at KaiserCon. This is This is George in his heyday, and this was George at KaiserCon. And I've got a special treat for everybody on this one. I usually, when I record something, sometimes I forget that I have the recording of things, and I don't even put them out on the on our social media as of yet. So I was going through my phone, and I could not believe I found this video, and it was one of the videos that I was going. It was like, it's not the right time. I'll wait until his birthday. I'll put this out here, not knowing today would be the day. Maybe this is the best time to do it. Yeah. So, without further ado, folks, let me play for you if I can find it. Oh, it's not here yet. Hang on a second. Let me upload it up there. Talks among yourselves.
All right.
This is the last recording of George Lowe that I have never released on our social media. So tonight you get to see it for the one and only time.
In honor of
Traveling TARDIS. In fact, if it sounds a little weird, it's in two parts. The first part did make it to the social media. The second part, he just went completely ape. He just lost his mind. So without further ado, here is my final showing of George Lowe, who we have not released as of yet, but we'll be releasing tonight. So enjoy just a few minutes.
Keep that one out. Here we're picking up because he panicked. He thought I was done, and I was still being perverted. But that's my only other question is for Doctor Who fans. If you lose your TARDIS, do you have to retardis? But that's all I can say about it. But I got my very own now. That's endurable. That's not plastic, is it?
No, it's not.
If I dropped that on my foot, I'd be in a wheelchair.
I've done that twice.
All right. Well, you kids have a lovely season. Happy holidays from Uncle Space Ghost. And you could actually store stuff in the bottom of that. Look at there. You like put sandwiches and snacks. And I'm going now. Now you can stop it.
The reason why he says now you can stop it, because the first time I was recording, I recorded he did me a nice favor, recorded an intro, and it's somewhere buried in the YouTube channel. Like, it was one of the very first videos I ever recorded for an intro for the show. And the next thing I know, like you said, Mark, he didn't stop talking.
No.
So I cut it off. He goes, no, keep going. I'm like, wait a minute. And he just kept talking and talking and talking. I was like, once you get to his table, you get a show. You get more than an autograph. You get the show. You get the whole kabang. He will not stop talking.
He loved his fans. He loved them. They made his day.
So everybody, hope you enjoyed that.
He was an artist as well, and he was doing. He was a pop art collector. So if you ever needed some obscure piece of pop art, George Lowe was the guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, and he could get it for you. Some of my
I got a guy.
All the collector's market and stuff. But he also wound up exhibiting at Atlanta Museum of Art. And I managed to get a couple original pieces of his. And now I'm like, I just got him for fun. And he joked because I met his mother. He introduced me to his mother, who might still be out there. I don't know. This was a decade ago. And she was like, the kids all, and it was so funny. Her voice was like this. The kids all get his autograph. The smart ones get his art. And then he's like, "That's my mom."
He was it was one of those things, because he was jumping around like channels. He was on like TBS and USA Network, Cartoon Network. He was just jumping around out there, and I don't know why I relate this to him, because Space Ghost, and I just remember Max Headroom. If you're a big 80s geek, he had his own TV show, and I kind of related those two together. It was just wild.
Well, he used to put them on the TV screen, everybody he would interview, and they'd look at him like, what am I being interviewed for?
Exactly. It was just like, what am I doing here?
And some of them were edited from, the original episodes were edited from other interviews and was just cut footage and stuff. That's why they're so random, those early Space Ghost ones. One of the best things, he also did the Brack Show. He was father in Brack Show. And then later on, he was Robot Chicken. He was the magical unicorn.
Yep.
We could talk about that much on this show. So
that's how to pick them.
And not many people know he was local here in Florida. He actually, I think he was, if Tom was right, I think it was in Lakeland.
Lakeland, yeah. He was in Tampa Bay for a while, and then Lakeland, yeah.
Yeah, so you would see him on the con circuit out there, and aka hello, aka KJB. Yeah, George was hilarious. You could never shut that guy up. That is true.
And this is how you know we're live.
He just ran off. He just kept going and going and going.
I just remembered he was flipping out. Walter Lance was at a con, like one of his last cons, and Walter Lance was eating soup, and he was joking. He was shouting. He was like, hey, this is collectible soup now. Walter Lance was eating it. I'll sell it to you for $1. Oh,
I believe it. And then he would have it hanging on his wall like a decaying banana.
Yeah.
Anyway, time scales. Thank you for bringing it up. George Lopez at 67, Gene Hackman 95, Betsy his wife 65, and Michelle Trachtenberg 39. So yeah,
soon.
We lost a lot.
Gene has a hell of a run, Gene, but still too soon. We could have used you more.
Yeah. None of them actually hit the WHOniverse, but we would be happy if they
adjacent. I mean, there was a Doctor Who parody on Robot Chicken. So yeah.
Yes, there was. That was funny.
He did. He had no. He knew what Doctor Who was. He knew the name, but he had no idea of it. So that's why he was like toying with the TARDIS, and he was just like looking at it disturbingly. He's like, "Oh, what is it? What does it do? I don't like that." I mean, he just that thing. Even though he said, "Okay, you can turn it off now," he kept talking. Yeah. He just would not stop.
He brought him off for another 30 minutes.
Never stops.
Exactly. So, without further ado, Gadget, go ahead and take it back over.
Well, that's the end of our sad stuff because you guys made it happy now and everything. So I can go into the happy parts, but.
There you go.
We have to say happy birthday, to now you're going to kill me on this one because I have to say it right because her last, okay, Gates McFadden, who I remember seeing as a secretary in the Muppets movie, and everything, and then later on the Next Generation and stuff, and you guys.
She was the official choreographer, main choreographer for Jim Henson Productions. Mm-hmm. She choreographed the dance sequences in Labyrinth, for instance.
My favorite movie. And how old is she today, guys? Because I wanted to make sure, because I don't like to mess that one up.
Her birthday was March 2nd. Lady never tells her age. So
I know. She doesn't look her age. She never looked, even when she was at New York Comic Con, she never looked, like I saw her, she never looked her age.
Yeah, and anybody want to take a guess? Because you're going to be wrong.
I was going to guess about maybe 60s.
76.
Oh, Mark, you cheated. Yeah, she's 76 years old.
Oh, wow. No, see, she does not look it.
Yeah, she wears it well. She wears 76 well, so... Happy birthday,
blood.
It's great. And
Muppet blood.
I can barely hear you.
I said she bathes in Muppet blood. That's why she.
Her and the Count have a thing going.
Run, TARDIS.
Anyway, here too. She's eating the bacon.
And she sleeps with the ghost in Next Generation. So there you go.
Oh, that's true.
Well, and that plot twist. If anybody hasn't seen Picard yet,
yeah,
I actually figured out when that sequence happened, because how do you go off a show for a little bit and then the new Doctor takes over and then how would you hide that?
Everybody was telling me when I posted this on the 2nd, she was like, she should be in the new Doctor. And I said, she's already been a Doctor. What are we doing?
Still is a Doctor.
All right.
Yeah. Now you got a toss up. You have a toss up between these two.
Go ahead, Mark. What were you going to say?
Yeah, Mark,
they did do a Next Gen Doctor Who crossover in the comics, and it was a cute joke when somebody runs in and goes Doctor, and Matt Smith and her both go what? So
I was waiting for you to bring that up and everything. That's why I was waiting for that one.
I've only got one copy of the Assimilation. I don't have the others, so I need to catch up out there. All right, Gadget, what is this thing I'm looking at?
Okay.
That's the next item for bids.
Okay, you want that as the next item.
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask you. The toss up between David and this and everything. This is not a. How do I put it? People were thinking it was a joke at first because they thought there was an episode of Doctor Who being filmed and everything. But no, it seems that some deep sea fishermen actually found this, and it was a big news story. They can't figure out what it is. And the funny part of the tagline in the post was, "They may or not be water on Mars." So you know who the writer is. They are Whovian. But there apparently is Martians in the water. A fisherman making waves after footage of a bizarre, mysterious sea creature, as viewers compare it to an alien. So I really like the writer of that article, the post, because water's on Mars, which will be an upcoming episode probably, and everything. But what do you guys out there think of this? Because
Mother, is that you?
I'm like, what are the
poor guy?
Like,
I mean,
what
I
are those
don't talk to my ex-wife anymore, but it's nice that she's doing well.
I'm like, this is actually a real thing they found. It's not faked. It's not Photoshopped. They ran into so many things.
It's some sort of blob.
I thought it was a mungfish.
There's a few of those out there. We've had a recent rush of strange deep fish coming.
The oarfish.
Yeah, we've actually had there was a anglerfish for the first time on video recently that was in fresh, in super shallow water. They're normally super, super deep. So I think the real concern is what's going on that's scaring them all up. Is Cthulhu waking up, or are the Silurians stirring for their new series?
I don't know. It just ties in perfectly with the spinoff.
No,
because
that's an ashtray that you catch at every convenience store on every. That's all it is.
Well, I actually thought it was a mungfish because the ones that look human and everything and stuff. I thought this is the from not having sunlight. Maybe
I thought it looked like speaking of Star Trek, I think it always looked when someone first sent me the picture of it, I thought it looked like the head from the Corbomite maneuver. That's always at the end of all the credits. Yeah.
But you know what? This would be so interesting to do if you could almost Blair Witch it a little. And you know where I'm going with this, right? It's just like we found this head, and it actually leads up into an episode of Doctor Who that's coming up, and it's found in the ocean and in the story somewhere, in the new series.
But you see how the side profile, you can actually looks like a jawline. That's what's creepy and creeping everybody out, on the side one.
I'd be more scared about whatever decapitated the poor guy.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yes. Bonsai
Or it could be a Pokemon.
Yes.
John
Warfin. John Warfin is here.
KJB, I believe in you. Thank you so much for bringing that geekdom in here.
I haven't seen that in a while.
I was freaking out watching the new Captain America movie, and Carl Lumbly playing Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America from the past, and I'm like, where do I know this guy from? I've seen him obviously in this and everything, and then suddenly it hit me. He was freaking John Parker, the Red Lectroid. From Buckaroo Banzai. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, need to see Buckaroo Banzai. Yes, I was like, yes.
That speaks Jamaican. Bob Pickering says it's called a lump. You know what? No, Bob. I'm going back to this comment. I want to dream a little.
But it's crazy that all these creatures from the bottom are coming up and everything. The anglerfish, all that. So what are you guys doing? Is it the earthquakes that are happening? Is it the fires? Did you piss off Mother Nature? What the hell happened? And stuff like that to get all these guys to start coming to the surface.
Where did you say it was located? Where did they find it?
They didn't give me a total. I'm just going to pull it back up again.
That's all I got. So it's it's Pacific.
Yeah, it's Pacific, but they wouldn't say if it was Asia Pacific or if it was. I was thinking more like around Thailand and Japan and everything and stuff.
He was probably getting tired because he kept being asked if he wanted to extend his warranty on his car. They're coming for you, people.
He's like, he got tired of being an extra in the Doctor Who episode, so he was like, let me just be a star right now. And speaking of a doctor in an episode, I mean, if you're a genius of things, you can probably figure this out.
Mantis. For Carl Lemon.
Mantis, excellent show.
Yeah.
And this is what I was hinting about. David Tennant will be hosting an 8 episode of the Genius Game coming. Now, it says 2 weeks during the second quarter of 2025. So I think they mean the fall. That's what I'm hoping they mean and everything. But this game is a little interesting because I'm reading the comments or the story on it. They say it's a brand new strategic welcome dyslexia and tongue twisters. It's a genius game that's brand new reality game show that's supposed to have strategically minded players choose not just for their high intellectual prowess, but also for their social IQ, face the ultimate battle of survival. But here's the catch. To win, the contestants will participate in a host of never-before-seen games, all designed to not only test their intellectual, acumen, but encourage them to carefully and creatively use the art of manipulation to outfox their opponents and win cash prizes. So 8 shows, and you have to prove you're a genius to outsmart your castmates.
Okay.
I'm scared.
And why does it look like a TARDIS in the back?
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, what is he up to?
Going, it's a round thing.
Like they said, this is what the show is actually hinting at and everything. So is it more, do you know you're like Whovian, or is it like a combination of Jeopardy with IQ questions, stuff like that? Like, what do you think it's going to be about? Like, because
it's done by the same people who did the show Crystal Maze, which is a fun show hosted by Richard Ayoade. So it's kind of like, think Americans, you're going to think like Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I would love that. Yeah.
So just think that, but smarter. Yeah. More brainy things rather than trying to put the Shrine of the Silver Monkey together.
But what kills me is I'm hoping it gets aired here in the USA as well as not only on the UK channels, because I want to see how this is, because they may bring this concept over to here or vice versa. You know what I mean? Or we already had that concept brought over to there.
Now that I'm seeing that him on the background like that, I want the master to regenerate into David Tennant.
Yes. Yes. I'm hoping they bring back Purple Man on the new Daredevil reboot and stuff from Jessica Jones. He was so good in that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I mean, speaking of news, don't play with AI, because when you throw in Squishy, Pinky, and Little Boy Blue, Christian, what did we get?
I don't have it on here.
You don't have it? Let me skip it. Let me see if I have it to send it to you, because that is too hysterically funny.
Have 3 TARDISes, so yes.
Yeah, and the war is with everybody. I'm still asking him, do you still like Pinky or Happy? Because we have to. I know Dave is upset right now. He is like.
Before we do that, do you have any more Who Knew news? Because I'm going to have to hit a hard commercial break. And then
no, this was the last of it. Unless you want to do the commercial and then we talk about the best news that's coming out on April 12th.
Well, we're going to go do that, because we're also going to bring the trailer in, and then we'll go through the questions.
And then we can show them the situation.
Exactly. So, everybody, we're going to go ahead and tie up the Who Knew news. Be right back. We're just going to commercial break. When we return, we're going to go over we hinted at April 12th, what's going to be taking place, and we'll be going over the trailer that we're not supposed to be talking to you while we're going over never mind. We'll be right back.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night, and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live, and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels.
Greetings, travelers. Join us as we travel through folklore, myths, monsters, legends, and dark history.
Now, we'll be your guide to the spooky side of reality as we discuss cryptids, paranormal, and all things preternatural.
Sometimes we find the truth is way scarier than fiction.
We're on twice a week on your favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube.
We have amazing guests from all of the areas of the strange and unusual, including witnesses, investigators, and more.
Now, with Erica's curiosity and ridiculous array of pop culture and true crime knowledge.
And Mark's decades of experience diving into folklore and the legends with the truth that's behind them.
Yeah, so join us, travelers, as we take you to the edge of reality, and we'll see you on the other side.
Are you a movie nerd? Do you collect VHS, DVDs, CDs, records, and so much more? Are you looking for clothing from 1940s to 2000s? Do you need cosplay or themed outfits? Come to Ducky's Vintage. We have it all for all budgets, located at the Oviedo Mall right off of the 417. Ducky's Vintage for those born in the wrong decade.
I'm Eric Roberts, and this is a legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, our special edition episode of celebrating 55,000 YouTube subscribers. And as of this moment, this is where we stand right now. So we're still growing and growing and growing. All 55,172 of you, whoever, took the moment to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to watch our series, to watch our shorts, to watch an episode, an interview, a news, whatever. We want to just thank you for giving us the chance. For those of you who joined us from MegaCon, thank you so much, all you friends out there. I think we appeared, if I'm not mistaken, we were trying to keep track of it, but we thought that we pulled in 500 people more, at least, from MegaCon alone out there. So we want to thank everybody for helping us grow. And of course, that next step, selfishly, is making that a 100,000K so we can get the whole WHOniverse in there. Speaking of the whole WHOniverse, as Gadget was talking about, I was playing around with AI for a little bit out there, and I put in Pinky TARDIS and Little Boy Blue, and this is what it came up with. So just in case you folks didn't realize what we were talking about, these are our TARDISes. That's Dave's TARDIS. He wants to call it something else, and we call it Pinky. And there's the original Traveling TARDIS out there. So I did the same thing. I said Pinky TARDIS and Squishy TARDIS and Little Boy Blue, and that's what AI came up with. So just because you're not familiar with Squishy TARDIS, that's squishy.
That's squishy with soot on the top if it would sit right and everything, but he's having one of those days and everything.
The original idea of the Traveling TARDIS was people to, when we first started out, was to get people to get a TARDIS in their own area. And we were hoping to start something where people would take the TARDIS in their area, like somebody in China would put it up against the Great Wall of China, and somebody in France would put it up against the Eiffel Tower. Never panned out, but we have 3 TARDISes that do the traveling for us. So, and hopefully there'll be a few more out there. So, yep. And we're going to get to your chats. Also, right now we are going to be moving into what we got here. Oh, sorry, I'm in the middle of something right there. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be the first Doctor Who YouTube channel in history to hit 100,000 subs, and we'll do it. Timescale, I don't know. I don't know if it's the first, and it's confusing because we would love to hit it. I'm not downing that whatsoever. We'd love to hit it. I don't know if we're the first to cross that line because I've seen other YouTubers. The thing is, they talk about Doctor Who, but I don't know if they're Doctor Who specific like we are. And lot of mainstream out there. So without further ado,
fingers crossed. I'm crossing like multiple times.
if you want to introduce this of the Who Knew News gadget, let me go ahead and bring it on, and let's see if I can bring up the video. But we're talking about April 12th.
Someone is showing their 10 right now and everything because this coming Easter we got a present. Well, actually an early present. It's just that iPlayer and everybody else is uploading it at now. Is it 8 a.m., 12 a.m., and 3 a.m. based on where your time zones are? That's up to how they're going to do it, but I think they're extending it now that it's going to be later in the day to probably noon. But if you guys are ready for this trailer, after watching it a few times, I spotted some Easter eggs. I spotted a ton of cool stuff, and we have everybody guessing because we might see some new villains, as well as going back to the way the WHOniverse was, where they get you with like the last second. It's gotten a little darker and a lot, not like it was like bubbly before. Like the first season was like all smiles and everything and stuff like that. This looks like we're in for a ride and everything. So without further ado, Christian, if you want to air it, fingers crossed and everything.
Fingers crossed. So if you hear me say something weird along the way, we just want to make sure that they don't hit us with the demonetization for this episode.
And I want everybody in the comments while they're watching it to whatever they can spot as an Easter egg. I want to see if you caught on, because I only showed Christian one Easter egg in there, and I basically am hoping you guys can spot the other Easter eggs. But if you look at this is what classic Who was. This is what we had before.
Okay, so I'm hoping this works. Let me know if the audio is working as well. Here we go, gang.
There are forces beyond this universe. We think we are so clever. But we're like children. And when these vast creatures look down on us, our entire reality is in danger.
So what's your name?
Just a doctor.
All right, then. I'm called the nurse.
There is something already connecting us.
Women ordained, Anglican Marine. This is a time machine.
Boom.
I am not one of your adventures.
You need to get me home.
This might be the wrong way round.
You're Scooby-Doo.
Honey, I'm Velma. You're meant to voyage out there and own it.
We're just popping in.
Girl, you are beginning to enjoy this.
Welcome to the Interstellar Song Contest!
Oh, we're so staying.
We're staying.
I love a good show.
Solar game to them.
I'm beaming at you.
But the games are deadly.
Tell a story.
I want you scared. Why? Because it likes the taste.
I promised that I would keep you safe.
You can't.
I can. I will. I do. I will take you home. That is a promise.
All right, well, there is the trailer. If anybody wants to comment on what you saw out there. And Gadget, was there anything like an image that you want me to cover that I didn't?
Basically look for the missing persons right there as best you can. If you can see a certain, if you study that very carefully, there's an Easter egg on there. It's one of the 4.
Anybody want to take a shot at what that Easter egg is?
One of the numbers on the.
No, look at the people on the poster.
Can't make it out.
It says, I can't pronounce it, but Omo Esosa, Rashid Abu.
But look at the picture. Who is it?
I can't make it out.
It's our writer for this episode. He's on the poster.
Oh, okay.
You see it? There's a bunch of Easter eggs like that hidden in this trailer. Especially, did you see the pyramids when they did the music show and everything? And especially that, what's her name is sitting in there, Twist and everything is sitting in the audience, and there's all pyramids during the music competition. There's all triangles and everything. If you go look, yeah, wherever the music one was.
Okay.
And I will give out a shout out to Faith for finding a better picture of our monster for the spinoff and everything.
Those pyramids?
There's, when you go in there, the lights, when they light up, like when you play it, you're going to see the lights light up.
Okay.
And it's all, you see at the pyramid behind them, and then you see the pyramids there.
Yeah.
And she's in the audience. So is that a throwback to Sutek?
Possibly, they're just pyramids.
Like there's so many hidden Easter eggs, and you got the throwback to when like they're dropping down into the. We did a review on it too.
This looks like the Star Wars Senate.
That's what I'm saying. There's like so many different little Easter eggs. Like they're throwing things at you from past episodes or anything, especially like when they were dropping into Satan's pit. That's the same way they were like dropping the same way and everything. There's like all little Easter eggs in here, but what gets me is when it's going to be that cartoon one and everything, Alan Cummings and everything. But this was the kicker. Like I saw all the pyramids. I'm like, really? Susan Twist is in the audience.
I think ETs are over here. Ewoks are over here or something.
And
so
Mrs. Flood, everything, you name it, like they're all in there, and it's like this is just one of those episodes where I'm thinking I want to see, because are they going to go True American Idol or are they going to go Stellar Idol, like they said?
I confess, Sam, I think that this trailer did appeal
better.
to me. It was like, yeah, it's more better. So
compared to first season and second season, what do you think? Is it more like first season was infant and this is adult? Or is it like a transition that the fans spoke and this is what we got? That's a good question, right? If the fans spoke about it. Because remember they were saying how it was too cheesy the first season?
You're right. I don't know. Well, anything I think beats the first season as far as...
Like this, I would... Because I like the part where he says, I'm the doctor, and she says, well, I'm the nurse. All right, we got someone that's got a bite. And that's another Donna right there with the bite.
Not necessarily a bite, but I'm thinking what JKB is saying. So is this companion like Clara has already appeared, but he's making a promise he doesn't normally keep. I remember the scene from World War III where the Ninth Doctor goes to Rose, I could save the world, but lose you.
Right.
So he's making a very interesting promise to her to get her back home. And I mean, the Doctor's done that before, but it's always been hard to ascertain whether he means it, which he does, or, he's trying to make the person feel better, or if it's both. I have no idea.
Or is she a fixed point in space and time that she has to be back so that they can meet up in the past, that past episode?
Gotcha. Must have watched this trailer at least 42 times to pick up on that.
No, I had a very good film teacher I had a very good film and animation teacher at Lehman College, and I cannot watch things the same way again thanks to him and stuff. He had us analyze everything down to a T.
Got it. So what did you guys think of the trailer?
I give it a 10. What about you guys?
Roger says, I noticed the giant spider one in the teaser trailer.
I was waiting. Okay.
Congo African lore. Please just be the arachnids in the UK version. That's all I'm asking.
No. This ties in. This is going to tie into that episode. Because because of the law, it's gonna tie in.
I'm sure it is out there. So. Let me just run over some notes because we're going to go over questions that people want to ask us. So Roger, once again, thanks us on our 55,000 plus subscribers, and hopefully we're still getting more as people are coming in. Mark always forgets to send people to the Area Podcast and YouTube channel. Yes, Mark had to depart. He wasn't feeling well, so we hope he feels better. But in the meantime, do Mark and everybody over there a favor and please subscribe to Erie Travels. You won't regret it. You're going to have a good time, especially if you're into paranormal, if you're into stories about the paranormal. It's awesome out there. Let's see here. So I guess it's time to get into the questions.
Oh boy.
Let me go ahead and take these out. And if you guys want to get into the questions, go ahead and ask away. Make sure that you're getting in the chat because I'm doing the chats as well. So I'm skipping around and I'm hopefully I'm getting everybody's chat. Otherwise, you can always ask the question again just in case I missed out. Roger says it's a phenomenal trailer. Giant spiders got the third Doctor in Metabelius 3.
I was waiting for somebody to pick up that one.
Yeah, well, I was hoping the arachnids in the UK were the Metabelius 3 ones, but whatever. I just want 5K right now on both. Oh, sorry. You're getting there. It's a great trailer. And here comes the question. Be afraid, be very afraid. Okay, timescales will put you to that. Let me go ahead and get the questions. I'm going to mix them up just a little bit. So timescales, I'm going to go ahead and start you off. I don't know what question 1 was. Question 2, has the TARDIS ever dematerialized on its side or upside down? Yes, Castrovalva. Castrovalva.
Wasn't that when he got
the 11th hour?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, the 11th hour, it was sideways. Remember, he had to climb out of the TARDIS. So,
or even, well, what about when it caught fire with when she was Little Pond? Get it? When he did the regeneration, that's what you guys talk about, right? The one where he had to climb out. Yeah, that was crazy.
And I think there was one more episode where the TARDIS was slanted. It was another 5th Doctor episode. I just remember the Doctor had to crawl down, and the TARDIS interior was like this, and he pressed a button and then fixed itself. But I don't remember which story was that. So yeah, the TARDIS has been in.
The 5th Doctor's TARDIS always went winky wonky and everything.
He had a zero room. That was cool.
I know. Whatever happened to the zero room?
Gotcha. Exactly. We got a lot of things in the past we were hoping for. Question, and without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and just do a round robin, and I'm going to randomly ask people for this. Question from the audience, David. If we are to assume that the Doctor Who's your favorite show, what's your second favorite?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of competition for that.
Yeah.
I like there's just too many dang shows to name a favorite, and
true.
Audi HD does not like to
You're the one at this moment.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to filter through and even think of another show that exists on the planet right now, actually. And
doesn't have to be sci-fi, right?
The only thing I'm gonna say Batman the Animated Series.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Love
That's
it.
a good one. James, what is your second favorite show if Doctor Who's your first?
I will let Batman Animated Series go because he just mentioned it, but obviously I'm kind of a fan. But
Understood there.
I was thinking more live action, so I would say, depending on the mood I'm in, it would either be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or the original 1960s Twilight Zone, or Seinfeld. One of those three, depending on what I'm in.
Gadget, what's your second favorite TV show if Doctor Who's your first?
I love anything that has misfits in it, or has people that have like learning disabilities or interesting quirks and everything. So it'd be like Tenchi Muyo, My Hero Academia. But sci-fi wise would be Stargate.
Would be Stargate. Okay.
Stargate.
Okay.
Movie and SG-1.
There we go. Now here's a funny one.
Well, you didn't give yours.
That's why I would say yours.
No, never. Anyway,
I also want to give honorable mentions to Blackadder. Because I am a Blackadder. I know it.
Oh, Blackadder.
Anyway.
Got the Twilight Zone coming from Timescales, but my second favorite TV show of all time, it's always been in the top 3. It's never left. It just moves around a bit. Red Dwarf.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
Another
That's
one.
a good one.
I think really people think it's just a funny little comedy show, but I really, with Grant and Naylor writing, it's almost Douglas Adams type deal. They really make you think after a while, especially. And I forgot what episode it was, but the guys are in a video game of their lives.
Yep, better than life.
Better than life, and they wake up from the video game. They only scored like 13%.
Yeah,
the guy at the end is the guy at the end is there going like, "Wait a minute, you didn't go to the planet of the nymphomaniacs." It's just like, what? We were supposed, yeah.
And thank God we're over 18.
It's just weird seeing after like Timothy Spall became fairly large with Harry Potter as Wormtongue. I mean, seeing him going back and rewatching it, there he is as the technician, just giving the guys a hard time over missing every possible thing, every hint, every side quest they could have taken to make their lives not suck.
Sapphire Steel says Grant G. Tom is asking, Roger's asking, Red Dwarf is coming back soon. I don't know. I actually am okay if the Promised Land were the final episode, I'm okay with it. But they really are going to have to do something to bring the guys back to make sense again. I really love seeing, even though it was for a short time, I love seeing Holly. God, I can't think. Norman, I can't think of his name. But Norman, the scene where they're stuck in the planet, spoiler alert, there where Holly comes up with the idea, goes, they're stuck in the planet. So Holly decides, I'll just blow up the planets. and the listener goes, will that be safe? And he goes, I'm miles away. I'll be fine. Just stuff like that. It was just so awesome. I just love those little things out there. Two at the time. Oh, okay. Tom's just okay. Here's question one. How many versions of Shada are there? That's a good question.
We answered that last time, right?
4.
I thought there was 5.
4 or 5. 2 Tom Bakers, 1 Paul McGann, and I think there's another.
I think I go to last week's episode because I know Mark was talking about it.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, there was an answer in last week's episode out there.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, and let's go ahead, Jim. Question to the team: if the TARDIS was real, where would you love to go? Where would you love to go see an entire space and time in the whole universe or dimension? So I'm assuming where would we go? And
from the show or from like thinking of what we would want to do? That's what I want to know.
Would you go forward, backwards? Where would you go? You have one destination that the doctor gives you. You can go forward or backwards in time to any place.
I'll start crying if I tell you because I don't think they'll do it. See my grandfather.
Fair enough.
I was only 7 when he passed away, and I never got to see him in his prime, so I would love to see him in his prime.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
James, where would you go? All time and space.
Probably as much of an 80s kid as I am, I would love to go back and watch them record We Are the World with all those singers in one room and be able to be in the room and watch them record that. That's probably, man.
I was on the bridge.
Did you see the documentary?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, just to be in the room, like
in the room.
With all those icons, that would be gorgeous. Yeah.
What you should do is you need to take some stuff back and go sign here, sign here, sign here.
Did I release this album? Not for other speakers.
Are you on break? Here's a Sharpie.
Like, what is this round CD thing? Like, what is this small little disc?
What's a Sharpie? God, doesn't matter. Just write it.
Stop asking me questions, Huey Lewis.
I did see this question in the chat earlier, so I had time to think about it, and I came to the conclusion that I would go about 60 years into the future, find an antique shop and buy a sports almanac, and
really.
And then I would.
He's got the right shirt for it. I mean, he's got the right shirt for it.
And then I'd come back, and I'd be insanely wealthy. Yes. And also, I want to say,
There we go.
because we know the reference I'm making, Back to the Future 2, Doc has no right to get all high and mighty over, I did not create the time machine to make money or betting or whatever he says. He mentions knowing who will win the next 25 World Series in the first movie. He absolutely designed it for that. But they had to change that between movies to make the plot make sense.
Actually, one thing came true about the socks.
Yes.
Oh, somebody came up with a theory. I saw this in a documentary. He goes, he mentioned that Doc knew when Marty McFly would die. Because if you notice that, go back over the movies and you'll see him. He's always rescuing him at the weirdest points where he thinks that Marty McFly would get it. He was there when Marty McFly jumps off the building. He was there with the
shotgun
rope thing, the shotgun, the flag rope thing. So there was this theory like he may have seen Marty pass, and he goes back in there and he's he screws with it. He knows what's going to happen out there. How many ugly mermaid pictures have there been seen on the internet? Too freaking many. I'll spare the team that expense.
And one got eaten by a barracuda.
There you go. And if you're just curious, yeah, there you go.
Hey, look, it looks like them. That fish is like them.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, Sophie's gonna kill you.
Sophie's already on the list somewhere. Mark asks, do you think it's time they should kill off a companion in Doctor Who? And if so, would you like to see killed off like Adric or not Claire? Wow. James, I'm going to hit you first.
Like go back and kill a companion who's previously been around?
I don't know. Do you think it's time they should kill off? Well, he's saying, do you think it's time that they should take out a companion? I guess
they've never really done that yet with New Who. Everyone's dead. Like the Ponds are just living in 1930s, and Clara is off in a TARDIS doing who knows what as whatever she is. So they've never really killed anyone off. So yeah, it'd be kind of, it would up the stakes. I remember watching Star Trek The Next Generation when they killed Natasha Yar off, and I was like, they're going to kill characters off the main characters, and that was kind of like kept you watching, like what's going to happen? No one's safe. So it would be kind of cool to have them take someone out. And if it happens to go back and be Clara, that's fine.
And also, I would also think it would be your definition of what would be a companion, because Adelaide and Astrid were considered companions. They got killed off, but they were in one episode.
Yeah, that's true. But I think recurring companion.
Yeah, I think that's what they were aiming for out there. So, David.
Well, I mean, it's not a good way to approach the writing, obviously. Like, it's time we killed a companion,
Contract dispute.
But yeah, I mean,
that's right.
I think that it would be a smart idea to keep open or to stay open to that concept of, yes, it will be really intense if something does take out a companion that people have gotten to know and love, because it hasn't happened really in New Who. Clara was dead for a minute or two.
Well, she has that one last heartbeat, so I mean, technically, however long you want to put that, what is it, 24 years on? What was it?
Singing Towers planet.
I said the Singing Towers too, but I can't think of the Viridian
something.
Viridian.
Viridian 3, 4.
Something like that. I'm trying to remember the planet, but I mean, like, it took them 24 years. So I was just like, technically, she died too, but ended up in a computer. So,
and I mean, in a sense, Donna died because she lost everything, but then they just hand waved that.
Yeah,
I'm like, dealt with it.
Yeah. So anytime a companion wants more money, it's pretty much.
That's the only thing I can think of, because you had what is it? Jack's character turns into the head of Bo, and stuff like that. Yep. Like, are they really? Yeah, the girl that was all the skin and everything, because she technically was a companion in Rose for about 5 seconds and everything. But it's really like, I say contract disputes. So if you have a contract coming up, let's see which one actually gets to go again and stuff. I think they got an ironclad with Catherine. Catherine's contract just keeps going and going and everything.
And I'm glad it does, because I love 10 slash blah blah blah. But I love David and Catherine. I love.
That's why I love them as Magica and Scrooge. It's like, that was perfect.
Magica and Scrooge, they did a production of Much Ado About Nothing together that I didn't get to see, but I do have the soundtrack because they did a bunch of the Shakespearean songs in it.
They can have their own show, not even a sci-fi. They can just have their own show.
Do you think Dr. Freedom should guest star in Doctor Who? No. Anyways. Poor Brian. No. I mean, if they got space for Brian, go for it. I mean, if they can find a place to shove Brian in as like Dr. Freedom, that
would be interesting. That one of the episodes,
a Doctor Who podcaster. I don't know. I mean, like I think I would speak for the four of us that will be a potted plant in the corner if we could be on Doctor Who or a rock, whatever.
I would love us to be on the screen in one episode. I would love, what, Nashuti, I know that I have him on Instagram and everything because I'm friends with Asa, but it's like, if you can sneak us on to one of the episodes for season 3 or something, that would be really cool and stuff. Like we're playing in the background or something, going through somebody's house or something,
I'll do craft services. That's fine. I don't care.
But no, he had little TARDISes in the last episode, like the Christmas episode and everything. So there is a theory with the Doctor. So I'm saying, like, they broke the fourth wall. Why not?
They keep telling me that. What is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading something at the same time as where was it? Sorry, I was reading something at the same time. I literally answered a question in my head that somebody else posed me. But Mark says there's 5 versions of Shaddaa, not including original narrator by Tom Baker. Yeah, I remember that one. Paul McGann, the 2 animated versions, and the remastered version and handcrafted. So there's your answer. There's 5. Not bad for somebody who's not on the show. Right? So let's get over here. Aside from James, if you could do another podcast, what topic would you host? So, David.
I hate to go back to the well, but Batman trivia would pretty much be, I could just talk 6-7 hours on
you just want James to have a Batman. That's an just pushing him out.
I mean, Batman contributed to my master's degree, so
fair enough.
I've got a Justice League podcast you might like, David. I do a Justice League podcast with Susan Eisenberg, who voiced Wonder Woman in the series, and we've had the writers, directors, voice actors, musicians, producers from that show on. So that's a lot of fun to do. We cover every episode of Justice League with myself and Susan Eisenberg and a guest. Besides that one, and besides Geek to Me Radio, I would love to do a James Bond podcast.
Oh, yes.
To talk about the original Ian Fleming novels, the John Gardner novels, the movies themselves, Never Say Never Again, and how it is better than Thunderball. That'd be a fun topic to cover.
I've been developing one with a friend, actually, because we're both huge fans of the Ian Fleming and the movies. More the Ian Fleming than the movies, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
Gadget, you get a podcast choice and topic.
Well, we already know I have Gadget Vlogs, and that's mostly about anime, TV, and everything else, but the one podcast I've been dying to try to do, and I want people to be aware of it, is about learning disabilities and dyslexia and what we go through as adults when they forget about us because they think we outgrow it. And we actually don't. We compensate and survive. And I wanted to talk with other people because, like I said, I had to make this so I can teach people how to play Dungeons and Dragons because I couldn't figure it out. And I would love something like that because most people don't talk about dyslexia much. So you hear about ADHD, autism, Asperger's, everything, but you never really talk to the adults who are living it. You hear all these psychologists talk about it and everything, but not who's living through it, like trying to find work, how our strengths are always missed because of our weaknesses. They rather look at our weaknesses than our strengths. And it hurts that's the one thing I really want to do is team up with people who have this learning disabilities and just talk about life, how we struggle each day, that things like this that are being taken away by AI and everything are what we are capable of. And there's other things we're capable of, but people don't want to see that.
Grant, I just want to make sure I got your quick. I don't remember. I don't know if this is like a big Finnish character who says, well, "What do you guys think of Lex?" And I'm just like, I don't. Did we cover
Lex is a TV show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lex
is
is
a
a
sci-fi
TV
show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait.
I never really got into it, but I mean, they did a lot with a little, and they have a diehard fan base. So I'm willing to believe it's excellent.
I've never seen this, so
You've never seen Lex?
I've never seen Lex.
It's pretty good. It was interesting. It only lasted a few channels, but yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I have. Like, I think I've seen one episode. Oh, Malcolm McDowell was in it. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh.
Wow. Really? Okay. Yeah, now
I'm trying to think of something you might have seen from it.
Have my
It
attention.
was
You have my attention here.
It
I'm a
had
big
that-
Malcolm McDowell fan. Okay. I saw Fantasy Island, and I think it's one of the better Fantasy
Oh
Island.
God, I loved that
One
series.
of three people that
Mm-hmm.
I think Malcolm McDowell's version was better.
That series was fantastic. I remember Finkel as the guy in the travel agency as well, just at the start of every episode. Hilarious every time. And then we get into the dark stuff.
Yeah. Oh god, the one trying to remember what that episode, but it was really like powerful. It was like the woman was in the military and she was dying of cancer. You found out at the end.
I don't remember
That
individual
hurt.
episodes. I haven't seen it in 30 years now, roughly, something like that, because I've never been able to track down a download or whatever.
Fantasy Island?
Yeah.
But it's the
I
Malcolm
think
McDowell.
Pluto. Oh, that one. I don't know if Pluto TV has it, but I know the new one is on some of the other ones with the new Miss Rourke and everything.
That would be cool.
You didn't see the new one. There was a reboot that was done. It was really good for a while, and then they just killed it after that.
Because I know they made a movie that was basically just an 80s
No, there was
slasher
there was
type thing.
She was Rourke's daughter, and she took over the island and everything.
Oh, cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I was watching it, and then I don't know what happened. They just killed it, and they had a few like throwbacks to some of the actors and everything, but it was pretty good.
I wasn't a big fan of the movie.
I
just saw
didn't
the
bother
movie.
seeing it.
Just pretend it didn't happen. It was it's an origin story too.
Oh,
kind of killed it, but yeah, it was just like it was a horror movie. It was basically let's turn Fantasy Island into a horror movie, and I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't work out. Deep lane. So yes,
Tell me when I'm thinking
classic.
Flight.
And the Love Boat. Malcolm's version was like the
pilot episode.
Yeah. No diss on Ricardo Montalbans. I mean, he's the originator, but I'm just like I play Malcolm any episode, I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there is a version with Malcolm McDowell. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the new one. The new one aired from 2021 to 2023. It never got a season 3. It's saying.
Shame.
But it was really good. It was good. I think it was something to watch during the pandemic and everything, you know.
Can you answer all the questions on an online Doctor Who trivia quiz?
Ooh.
I think I can answer that fairly.
I wasn't privy to the original episodes. I only got to see pieces.
Full disclosure, when I used to go with a friend for Doctor Who trivia at the conventions, we would go out there and we would win the trivia contest and everything. We knew too much, but then my friend Patty Hawkins, who is the host of the online, and he actually does on stage as well. He hosts the guests. He told me, he goes, you need to stop that when I did the podcast. And he goes, and I go, why? He goes, what if you lose? And you'd have a Doctor Who podcast. And I was like, Okay, I'll stop. I can get my butt kicked and goes, "You're the Doctor Who podcaster." So, Grant G, why did the cyber controller change from Tomb of the Cybermen to Attack of the Cybermen? I don't know. I gotta check that out. If anybody's got an answer, I'm trying
to remember how it changed.
Yeah.
All I remember is the cyber rat.
With you on that.
I don't think I've
Cyber.
It's been so long since I saw Tomb of the Cybermen because that's the second Doctor episode, right?
Yes.
That's the one with Jamie and
it's the one they're coming out of the plastic wrap.
and then that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been forever.
That's where
that's what I'm saying.
Jamie,
It's like they have the rat, they had the other thing, and
yeah, that's where Jamie and the second Doctor hold hands. So it's a little cute in there.
I love that one. That was the best part.
They need to redo and bring back Johnny Quest. Would that work in today's thing? They might be able
They made reboot cartoons, but I've never seen one recently. I've seen the ones from the 90s.
Johnny Quest, I think, got a reboot in the 80s already.
I think the 90s as well, right?
And certainly Venture Brothers,
it did have a reboot. They cleaned up the animation and stuff, but I just remember it was like, would it work today? Maybe it would.
There's ways you can make it work.
Was there a 2000? Yeah, Johnny Quest 2000.
What is your favorite Dalek or Cybermen from Classic or New Who? Mine is the Special Weapons Dalek and the Telosian Cybermen. What are yours? I don't know. I'm fond of the classic Cybermen, but I'm kind of liking the. I kind of like the Silver Nemesis because I got to watch them as they were assembling them, and they were explaining how well they were fitting in much better, that they were wearing Doc Martens shoes as opposed to bags on their feet that would get wet all the time. And plus, instead, what they would have to do is when they put the masks on, this was coming from David Banks, they would put the thing in, and then they would screw it on. You were sitting there regretting it because if you had to take it off, you had to sit there and wait until they screwed. The new ones for Silver Nemesis was a snap-on.
Oh, nice.
So they were so much happier. It was like that. They made a lot of changes. So God only knows what the hell they were going through when.
Don't be claustrophobic.
Yeah, exactly. Or, if you're wearing that for a long time and it's getting hot in there and you've got to get this thing off, whatever.
I like Handles. Handles is my favorite Cyberman.
Yes.
Yes.
Somebody was having too much fun with this, so David, I'm gonna give this question to you and then the others. Which character from Doctor Who should have a drink named after them?
Where'd that come from?
Facebook.
Okay.
There's a lot of options, and I'm trying not to go obvious, but I mean, Captain Jack just kind of needs one.
I don't want to say I can drink Amy Pond from under the table. That would just be going the wrong way.
Oh.
James, what would you? Which character would you make with a drink?
Oh gosh, a drink based on a companion?
Yes. Well, no. It based on a Doctor Who character.
Oh,
So
any
everybody's-
character. It doesn't have to be a companion.
Doesn't have to be companion. You could drink a Cyberman. I guess. You got Handles there. There you go. There's Handles. You got to make it into a cup.
I'd say Leela needs her own cocktail. It's tropical. It's it pairs well with most meats, and there's something on top you have to cut through with a knife to get into the drink.
Gadget, what would be a good drink?
It's a doctor or a companion or
Well, it could be anything. It just says which character, so everybody's open game.
a Dalek shaker.
I like that.
Pop the top off. You don't know what the slimy thing is. You know, it could be an alien's brain. You know, they make that shot.
It would just have like cups of every Clara going down the line.
Clara is the cocktail that overstays its welcome. That's what you call a Clara.
No, it's a fractal. It's split.
And just when you think it's gone, it comes back for you.
Right.
Okay, I tortured David. So, James, I'm going to hit you with this one. Right. And this is a fun one. A classic Who villain that has not returned. Who would you bring back from classic Who into the new series?
Man.
You would, Roger.
Because I'm trying to think, because I'm going through right now and rewatching classic Who. I picked up with the fourth Doctor when he gets Leela, and I'm kind of going through that series now, which is why Leela is the drink popped in my mind. There was that race of people who could also regenerate. I'm trying to think of the name of the race of the people now. And they went to that center of that planet, and the whole episode was done terribly with green screen. But I'd almost like for them to kind of check in with that race of people again and see, hey, how are you guys getting on now that you've reunited with your lost people, and where'd you guys go from here? That's not a great answer, but that's the best one I can come up with.
Oh God, Tom. Oh, we're just everybody's putting in drinks now, so it's great.
Yeah, which Leela? Because we have another Leela. That
Perry. Goes with
everybody's just starting off with Perry.
Gee, I wonder why.
You guys are after my heart out there. David, classic villain that needs to come back, hasn't been seen.
I have one that I've actually been waiting a really long time for, but I have to admit I'm still a little behind. So this might have been addressed in some of the stuff I'm just coming up to. The Valyard.
Oh,
I want to see that dealt with. I want to see them close that loop.
They did in Big Finish, but you know what? He'd make a great drink too. Gadgets. Who would you see from Classic Who needs to make a comeback?
Classic Who?
Yeah.
Well, we can't do the Ronnie.
Why not?
Because of contract disputes.
Oh, is that the reason why they won't bring her back? That sucks.
It's one
I did
of
not
many,
know that.
many things because of it's a copyright issue.
Okay. Well,
I would have loved to seen her go after the Master as in Missy form. You know what I mean? And have the Doctor trying to pull them apart. You know? That's the way I would think. I want to see I would have wanted to see the Ronnie again, but going like with Missy, the Ronnie, and one of the Doctors just trying to pull them apart. That would have been funny.
I don't want to see a bi-generation anymore.
No.
But okay, wait, bi-generation? What about when his hand got chopped off and made the clone? So I would believe bi-generation because we got a clone from a hand.
Dave would purchase that as a tiki mug. So anyway. Okay, we do have. Let me get back.
But there was one I couldn't think of. I mean, I don't have any lines on me, but you know what I mean. There could have been that we could have brought back too.
I'm going to take 3 more questions because we're at the wall right now. Jim, question: if you had a chance to be on Doctor Who episode, what would you like to do? What would you like to do if you had a chance to be on a Doctor Who episode? I would want to be a companion. I mean, if I really want to start a career, I want to be a doctor. I would have a future ahead of me, that's for sure. But I meant, like, I would love to be a companion, or like I
think
said,
everyone would love to be a companion.
I would be a rock. I would be a plant like this, standing like this. I wouldn't care. James, what would you do if you had the option to go on Doctor Who, and they told you can be anything you want?
My gosh. I look good in a beret, so I'd want to be a unit person.
Ooh.
A member of
after Mark's heart.
Yeah.
Gadget, RTD comes up to you and says you can be anything you want on Doctor Who. What would you be?
I want to be able to use my dyslexic thinking, so I want to be either a companion or an equal to the Doctor somehow.
Fair. I like it. Timescales is beating me with a question. You are going to make a YouTube short for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS with the song Jam on it. I've actually, as funny as that sounds, I've been thinking about timescales. Okay, I'm going to give full disclosure to everybody of our 55,000 people out there, because I made it a goal to put out a short daily, and everybody seems to be running into the Traveling TARDIS because they love the shorts. They love Dalek Al and the music to it. And one of the shorts that I was going to plan on doing was Nucleus. Now, what I've been inspired to be doing with the shorts is what I'll do is I'll be driving along and I'll hear 3 songs on the radio and I'll jot them down or try to commit them into memory. And then I have a challenge to actually find pictures back into the albums and have to figure out how to make certain pictures work with the song that's being played. So I will try Jam on It by Nucleus eventually. That was actually one that I've just been skipping around, but yeah, that's one I'll eventually come up to. Eventually. There we go. All right, you guys want to do one more question and we'll just go ahead and wrap it up?
I'm surprised they didn't do any crazy questions. These aren't crazy. I thought they were going to go at it.
No, I got rid of the quick. No, I got rid of the.
Oh, you mean they weren't PG-13 or anything like that?
Yeah. Those questions, I'm gonna ask us anything, and I did put in parentheses within reason. Hang on, it's just like no.
I was waiting for those because I got no filter. I'm sorry.
I really want to know what one of the questions that was asked if one of the companions had an.
Perry.
Oh no!
Which companion would have an
Perry?
Perry.
Jack.
Yeah,
Perry.
Perry. That was
Perry.
one of the questions.
Yeah, Perry's a given. She already
I should have
shows.
just asked that anyway, right?
We're over 18.
So
like I'm from New York City. I see everything. We got Men in Black, you know what I mean, stuff like that filmed down here. So we don't even know what's down here. So it's like, you know, anything's going on. I got subway riders on top of the trains. I got people pretending to be Spider-Man running through the subway system. I got people jumping turns. I mean, any question would have been like, whatever. It doesn't faze me.
Again, I want Clara at every point of her existence.
That should be a chess set. A chess set.
Yes.
Yeah. Clara chess set.
It's the Doctor and all these Claras.
Yeah. He's the king and
That'll
she's
work.
like around, yeah, all that. Yeah. No, the female Doctor and the regular Doctor, king and queen, and then they got all the Claras around.
You heard me. Timescales. I ain't gonna say. Baloney fans. How's that sound? Right?
Yeah, it would be Perry. Everybody knows it'd be Perry.
I mean, I guess
I'm
if
going
you
for Leela.
Sites and you called it Unit, you would expect Captain Jack might be the behind.
Yeah,
he's just wearing a beret and that's it.
Beret and a smile.
Hey, he was part of Torchwood. I mean, if you look at those words,
yeah,
if you take them out of context,
he's wearing a beret and not on his head, and that's maybe that's the question we should add. That's the question out there. So without further ado, thank you so much for being with us all this time. Whether you just subscribed from the very beginning, whether you've been with us since 2012 when we started all this thing on the Facebook page.
I can't believe it.
55K, and can't forget our Facebook subscribers, 77,000 guys. I really appreciate that. And we'll continue to do some fun stuff like this next week. Don't know yet, but be prepared that we might be reviewing Smith and Jones when we start the Martha Jones series, but anything can change at that moment. So yeah, we're getting naughty. I know we are.
We're allowed to be naughty.
So yeah, exactly. So without further ado, Gadget, where can people find you?
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, here in New York City. I mean, guys, I would love to go to any convention to talk about the TARDIS and dyslexia and my Gadget vlog series and everything and stuff, and my books. You know, ultimate D&D guide for kids and adults and everything, who have learning disabilities like autism and dyslexia. And if you guys want to know about the Doctor Who experience and my trip to England, Copley and Newcastle Journey and Beyond, they're all on lulu.com. I'm working on photo books now and trying to get the other 3 books for this series out. But I got time now. So whoever wants to can just drop by and say hi and everything. But if you do drop by, I'm putting you to work to clean this apartment.
And we know where we can get James because he's over. Well, let me take that down for a second there. James over at the Two Rivers Comic Con. James, you're also going to be at Big Rivers, right?
Yeah, I will be, if you're in the St. Louis area and you're listening, Toyman Toy Show on the 9th. I'll be in Boxborough, Massachusetts at the Comic Con up there, the 7th and the 8th. I will be at Planet Comic Con the 21st and the 22nd. And then I will be at Big River Comic Con the 28th and 29th. And then if you look up Two Rivers Comic Con, we've got the voice cast of the Justice League, a lot of cool comic book creators like Roy Thomas, Mark Bagley, Chuck Patton, Keith Williams. Tickets are available at the number 2 riverscomiccon.com. And then every Sunday night, check out Geek to Me Radio on 550 KTRS. We stream live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So head over to YouTube and subscribe there. I would appreciate it.
Do you have an Instagram for Two Rivers Comic Con as well?
We do. Yeah, it's the number 2 Rivers Comic Con, all one word. So it's comic, COMIC, CON for comic. There's the 2 C's in there.
And for an extra boner, I mean...
Speaking of it, he just found Perry's OnlyFans, folks.
Well, this is like I said. They tell us we're like Saturday Night Live. We can't. It's all bloopers.
For an extra bonus, join James and I together on the last episode. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Geek to Me Radio, where we're talking with Debs from over at Big.
And it was good.
Oh my God! So
that's right. There was a Freudian slip, Christian. A Freudian slip.
It was.
And mean your mother.
And I want to put it on, and I want to put one right on Leela. Speaking of which, David, get us out of here. What is
Come visit my blog, Crossing the Themes at .wordpress.com. Basically, mostly wankery and film analysis with a lot of swearing. That's what I can offer you there. I'm about to put up another John Candy post because today is the anniversary of the day we lost him, and very important day to me. Don't know when the next one's going up, but
You're in that mood too. You're like,
Yeah. And again, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll have an episode next week. Don't forget to mark your calendars out. We'll make sure that we get the invites out there because I don't have them on the top of my head. But be prepared. Space Coast Comic Con, which is taking place in June, and Ancient City Con. We're going to team up with the Dalek. Let me not give too much, but we are working with the Dalek Builders to join forces again, and we are continuing to work with the Dalek Builders to be a one-stop shop for Whovians, for the podcast, for the Daleks, for the TARDIS, so that everybody can be together all at once. And hopefully we might see you. I can't wait down there.
Well, even up here in the East, if any of the convention guys are listening in the East, we got a staff. We got a good staff. It's funny, you see, we don't pull punches. We just be ourselves. You know.
Right. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. And I need Dave. I need a host to get me through this. Don't forget to say goodnight to Boner. I mean, Rose. Tony. Rose. Tony, get us. Oh my God, I can't even find the end card. Tony, get us the hell out of here.